The spider in the corner of my room kept trying to get into my mouth. It's hairy, and it's black, and it's big, and it's big, and it's big, and it's big. It's but a thick web in the corner of the room where the wall kisses the ceiling. I've been here for too long. I think this place might be driving me insane. My mom tells me that is the reason that I'm here, that honey, no, this place isn't making you crazy, it's making you better. That's why they have to lock the doors at night, honey, to make you better. Sweetheart, that's why you have to attend hours of single and group therapy every day with Dr. Kratitz to make you better, to make you like you were before you smashed into that boulder. John feels really bad about that, darling. He wishes he could visit, but Newgate is 2 hours away from Dowley, and he's busy. He's busy. John gets to live the life that he stole from me. Isn't that funny? He gets to spend the summer with Shelley, his girlfriend. My girlfriend broke up with me and forgot that I'm alive. Well, he gets to be happy, and I get to sit with a bunch of drooling dunces in a completely different town. He gets to have his same brain, and I get this rotten, festering maggot brain. You want a tip from me? Never go swimming with your brother. He might push you off a rocky cliff and make you smash your head on the side of a rock, and then he'll get mad about Spot, and then he won't come and visit, and then he'll pretend like you don't exist, and so will your dad, and so will your girlfriend, and so will your friends. The spider was in the corner of my room, but it only came out at night, spinning its web that shined in the silver glow of the moon. This wasn't like the gremlin that I saw in the corner of my bedroom at home. This was different. That gremlin was inside of me with its sharp, blood-stained teeth, and it kept trying to tear its way out. This spider was outside of me, trying to get in. The first time I saw it, I woke up in the middle of a pounding July thunderstorm. Ever since the accident, I've hated noise. Any noise, all noise, loud noise. The booming thunder was shaking my brain, dislodging it from my skull, causing it to rattle around inside of my head. The rain was smacking against the barred window at the top of my room. Clack, 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 clack. I screamed into my pillow, begging God to get rid of thunder and rain and lightning. The plants could all die. I wouldn't care. Just get rid of thunder and rain and lightning. Get rid of it now. But there was a softer noise, shifting, the sound of scuttling insect feet. It was light and airy, and it floated below the storm, and it was nice, and it was a sound I could focus on. I prized my eyes open, rubbed them, and sat up on my cot. I looked around the room. In the corner, in that constant corner, the spider was there, as big as my fist, feet scuttling as it moved around the wall. And I looked at it, and I focused on that noise, and it helped me ignore the flashing in my head and the flashing outside. After that storm, the spider appeared to me every night, like clockwork, like a cuckoo. It waited until the nurse gave me my medication and turned out the light and locked the door and smiled at me from the window. Sweet boy, they call me. Isn't it terrible what happened to you? They tell me, as if I don't know that, as if I don't live inside of this smashed, crumpled, brother-ruined brain. Then the spider would wait for a minute or two. Then I would see its legs, long and hairy and thick. Then I would see its black body. Then it would crawl around the corner of the room, spinning an odd web, the web that shined, the web that looked funny like the folds and curves of a human brain. Sometimes I would look at that web and want to eat it. It looked delicious. Don't tell my mom. Don't tell Dr. Krat. For the first couple of nights with the spider, nothing happened, but one night I dreamed about an apple getting stuck in my mouth. In that dream, I was at home. I panicked and scratched and tried to pull the apple out, but it was keeping my mouth open, and John was there laughing at me in the kitchen. He was about to go camping with his friends, forgetting I ever existed, but he needed to stop and laugh at me as I coughed and sputtered. When I woke up, my mouth was open, just like in the dream, but there was no apple there. There was something rough and solid lodged between my teeth. My hand reached up and I felt the hard-shelled body of the spider. In my mouth, its legs were pushing and prodding at my tongue. It was difficult to pull it away. It kept a firm grip on the insides of my mouth, but I managed to throw it against the side of the wall. It smacked into the tiles with a strange metallic cling. Do spiders have shells? Hard shells? Strange, shiny shells? It climbed up the side of the wall and went back into its hole. After that night, I tried not to fall asleep after the nurses left my room. I would take naps during the day, but would force myself to stay awake at night. I watched the spider emerge from its hole and would refuse to look away until it retreated back into its black crack. Mom and the nurses and the doctor noticed the dark circles under my eyes, and I told them about the spider, and they gave me their condescending smiles and their grounding exercises. Can you tell us about things that are here, Oliver? Oh, yes, I can. There's the TV, there's the medicine, there's the door, and just like those things are there, so is the spider, and if you want me to sleep, you will fix that hole in the wall. My mom visited a few days ago, and I tried to show her where that web was. I pushed her chair over to the corner of the room, ignoring that familiar, pained look on her face, the look she always gives me, and I reached up to the web. I threaded it through my hands and showed it to her. Oh, yes, sweetheart, that's a spider web. I wonder if she talks to John like that. Does he ever see the sad, disappointed look in her eyes? The look that says that I was better before? As if I don't know that, as if I don't feel that. Mom, it's not just a spider web, though. It's the big spider that climbed into my mouth, and it's the reason that I can't sleep. It's going to choke me like the apple, and John won't do anything about the apple, will he? Well, have you told Dr. Crad about the spider, sweetie? Yes, Mom. She thinks it's the same thing as the gremlin, but she doesn't understand. She didn't understand the gremlin either, because it wasn't me that killed Spot, it was the gremlin. It got out of me, tearing its way out of my chest with those teeth, and it killed Spot. Not me. I would never, not me. John cried and called me the craziest motherfucker in Dowley, and since then he's been too busy, but that's new because he wasn't too busy to push me off of that cliff. It was a joke, he said. I didn't know the rock was there, he said. After Mom left that day, I was so tired. I fell asleep. I wanted to take a nap. It was still light out, so I wasn't worried about the spider. But then I had that apple dream again. This time the apple was in my throat, lodged in my neck, squirming and moving and writhing like no apple is supposed to do, and I was in the water, confused, dazed, and John was standing on the cliff looking down at me with panic on his face, and the apple was in my throat and I couldn't get it out, and he wasn't doing anything. Maybe if he had gotten help faster, maybe if the apple would just get out of my throat. I clawed at it, the water of the lake splashing around me as I tried to rip out my esophagus and larynx and whatever other veins and arteries threaded through my neck. My fingers were bloody, dripping crimson in the water. The fish would feast on the essence of my life, and John was watching as I choked and clawed and cried and begged. How could he do this to me, push me down and leave me here in the lake suffering? But before the boulder, John had been my buddy. Now he was less than a stranger. It was an eternity of torment before the apple crawled up my throat and it dislodged itself from me. It fell out of my mouth and into the lake, and I sputtered and I breathed and I spat up murky green lake water. I jolted awake in my bed. The summer night was quiet. No storms, no rains, no clack, 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 clack. No spider. I looked up at the corner and it wasn't there. It wasn't there. I was confused. It was always there. But then I heard the sound of its soft, hairy legs. They were below me. The little creature scuttled away from my bed and then crawled up the wall and into the crack. Why hadn't it been in the corner? Well, thank God I woke up when I did, or maybe it would have tried to get into my mouth like it had a few nights ago. The good thing is that I don't think I need to worry about the spider anymore. My mom came to visit me today, and I took her chair and I asked to use her phone, and I looked into that thin black hole and I shined the light. I ignored the expression on her face, the one that John never gets, and guess what? The spider was dead. It was upside down, its legs rigid and unmoving. I smiled down at Mom and told her, and she said, "That's nice, sweetie," and took her phone back. And she told me I needed to update Dr. Kratt about that, and I said I would, and then she left. When I did, he asked me to do a grounding exercise. "Can you tell me a few things that are here, Oliver?" "I sure can, Wesley." Dr. Kratt likes it when I call him Wesley. "There is that large window that overlooks the grounds of the hospital. There is your desk, there is your diploma, and there's something rumbling in my stomach. Kind of feels like that gremlin trying to get out, but this time it's a lot of little gremlins with legs instead of teeth."